Welcome to the Neuralink Show and Tell. So we've got an amazing amount of new developments to share with you that I think are incredibly exciting, as well as tell you about the future of what we're planning to do here. It's now this is meant to be a technical podcast, sort of like a. I'm going to provide an overall summary, and then we're going to have a number of members of the Neuralink team come in and give a deep technical overview of the various areas. So so let me move forward with the overall summary. Now, some of the things I'm going to say are things if you've been following Neuralink, you've already heard before, but for a lot of people out there, they've no idea what Neuralink does, and so I will be a little bit repetitive of things you may already know, but that others do not. So, the overarching goal of Neuralink is to create ultimately a whole brain interface. So a generalized input-output device that, in the long term, literally could interface with every aspect of your brain, and in the short term can interface with any given section of your brain and solve a tremendous number of things that cause debilitating issues for people. So. So our long term is I'll talk a little bit about our long term goal. It's going to sound a little esoteric, but it was actually the sort of my prime motivation, which was, what do we do about AI? Like, what do we do about artificial general intelligence? If we have digital superintelligence that's just much smarter than any human, how do we mitigate that risk? At a species level, how do we mitigate that risk? And then even in a benign scenario where the AI is very, very benevolent, then how do we even go along for the ride? How do we participate? And the conclusion, the thing that the biggest limitation in going along for the ride and in aligning AI, I think, is the bandwidth, the how quickly you can interact with the computer. So we are all already cyborgs in a way, in that your phone and your computer are extensions of yourself. And I'm sure you found, like, if you leave your phone behind, you end up tapping your pockets, and it's like having missing limb syndrome. Like, where the phone is leaving your phone behind is kind of like a missing limb at this point. You're so used to interfacing with it. You're so used to being a de facto cyborg. So what's the limitation on a phone or a laptop? The limitation is the rate at which you can receive and send information, especially the speed with which you can send information. So if you're interacting with a phone, it's limited by the speed at which you can move your thumbs, or the speed at which you can talk into your phone. This is an extremely low data rate. Maybe it's like 10, optimistically 100 bits per second, but a computer can communicate at gigabits, terabits per second. So this is the fundamental limitation that I think we need to address to mitigate the long-term risk of artificial intelligence, and also just go along for the ride. And So, but like I said, that's an esoteric explanation that I think will appeal to a niche audience, some of whom may be here, and that's a very difficult problem. So even if we do not succeed with that problem, I think we are confident at this point that we will succeed at solving many brain injury issues, spine injury issues along the way. So so anyways. So actually we have Justin Roiland in the audience. Hi, Justin. So it's a little Rick and Morty reference here. There's a great Rick and Morty episode about intelligence enhancement of your dog, and what's the worst that could happen? So anyway, Rick and Morty, I recommend it. So you want to be able to read the signals from the brain. You want to be able to write the signals. You want to be able to ultimately do that for the entire brain, and then also extend that to communicating to the rest of your nervous system if you have a sort of a severed spinal cord or neck. So now this video is now 18 months old. So this is Pager, who is playing monkey mind pong. So this is Pager has a Neuralink implant in this video, and the thing that's interesting is that you can't even see the neural implant. So we've miniaturized the neural implant to the point where it matches the thickness of the skull that is removed. So it's essentially it's sort of like having an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, replacing a piece of skull with like a smartwatch, for lack of a better analogy. So you can see, he looks pretty, he's normal. And I think that's pretty important. If you have a Neuralink device, like I could have a Neuralink device implanted right now, and you wouldn't, you wouldn't even know. I mean, hypothetically, maybe one of these demos, in fact, one of these demos I will. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so here's I mean, first of all, it's kind of wild. Hey, monkeys can play Pong. Like they can actually play Pong if you give them a joystick. So Pager first learned to play Pong with a joystick. So I'm like, that was novel. It's like I didn't know monkeys could play Pong, but they can. And then so we first trained Pager to play Pong with a joystick. Then we took the joystick away and have the Neuralink, and now he's playing telepathic video games essentially. So what we've been doing since then is we've been on the very difficult journey from prototype to product, and I've often said that prototypes are easy. Production is hard. It's really, I'd say, 100 to 1,000 times harder to go from a prototype to a device that is safe, reliable, works under a wide range of circumstances, is affordable, and done at scale. It's insanely difficult. I mean, there's an old saying that that it's 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration, but I think it might be 99.9% perspiration. The best example I could give of an idea being easy, but the execution being hard, is going to the moon. It's the idea of going to the moon, easy. Going to the moon, very hard. So, we've been working hard to be ready for our first human. And obviously, we want to be extremely careful and certain that it will work well before putting a device in a human. But we've submitted, I think, most of our paperwork to the FDA, and we think probably in about 6 months we should be able to have our first Neuralink in a human.